Hello and welcome to Transport Fever. I'm River, and I would like to start a new free campaign. Or I'm sorry, free game, not the campaign. And make it a bit of a let's play where we show you most of everything that I do, much like my other series that I've done in the past. I like the let's play format. So without further ado, the campaign seems like it might be interesting. Let me know in the first couple episodes. I'm going to hold off on making the next episode till I get some of your feedback. If you'd like to see this, that, or the other thing, I'd be willing to switch up at this point. I haven't really seen much of the campaign play yet, so I would definitely be, it's all the same to me if we're playing a game, right? Now, I'd like to come in and give this a seed so you guys don't have to type in that goofy thing. Let's try Rever's seed, right? And see what this map looks like. Now, what I've done is left it on temperate, because why not? Changed this to very hard. I just turned down the hilliness a little bit, make it a tiny bit easier, because I want to play on hard, and it's probably already hard enough for me. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we don't go bankrupt before 2 episodes are over anyway. All right, so if we hit next, I mean, that looks fine to me, right? Everything else is pretty much on the standard medium, 1 by 1. So let's go to next, and then starting year, I left that alone. It's the earliest we can start, it looks like, and hard difficulty. And I'm just going to go with the regular settings, because why not? It's the first time ever. Eventually we can get into mods and all kinds of wonderful things. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll be back when this thing is done loading, because it'll probably take a minute or two. Okay, the game loaded up, and I paused it, and I had to look around. This is the first time. I had no idea what we were going to get into, but I've sort of settled on maybe starting around Fort Lauderdale, and I'll explain my reasoning. Now, I did play a little bit earlier and kind of failed. I more or less went bankrupt, but I also was just more checking out the statistics, like it would take to go bankrupt, and then I sort of rushed things a little bit just to test them out in a sense. And what I've noticed is that you definitely want to get these things into the positive on your city. Now, this target population is how many people live in the town, right? And then this is how many would live in the town if you didn't do anything to keep them going. So we really want to get some towns going. Now, there's a few different industries. A lot of the industries need 2 different things. So if nothing else, they're kind of complicated to get going. But I was looking in this area, and there's a coal mine, and I don't know, do we see an iron mine? Yeah, we got iron up here, and there's other industries that are like single steps, right? Like they don't need 2 things. Like if we have oil here, we can make oil, but then none of the towns need oil directly from the refinery. Wait, what are they calling these 2 different things? If we hover, crude oil versus just oil, imagine, yeah. And then so we could make plastics up here. Now, Fort Lauderdale also needs food. And I think I'd like to get food going. We have at least one Hayward farm up here. We have a food factory here, so we could get food into Fort Lauderdale, probably even by truck. I think it's on hard mode here. It's going to be, we almost want to get profitable with some road vehicles, I think, before we take on a huge amount of debt and just get, some towns as best we can growing, even if it's not ideal. And I also noticed Greensboro down here needs food and it needs fuel, right? And we should have, I thought I noticed a fuel refinery to make, Jackson needs fuel and food. And then where was I know I saw it around here somewhere. And I don't know if you guys can see. I'm sorry if you're on your iPhones watching this. I need to stay a little bit zoomed in. It's just kind of hard to find things if I'm zoomed in. Oh, here we go. Right over here by Greensboro. So Greensboro could be, oh, look at that. And they have oil here, but they don't have an oil refinery. Oh, yeah, they do. Well, getting down to Greensboro from Fort Lauderdale might be a really good thing to do because we could get food going down this way. And then Greensboro is just a little town, but it certainly could be argued that would be a good way to go to get flaming fuel going and oil and whatnot. because we could probably even start this up by truck as a potential. Now, I'm not real sure what happens to Greensboro. Okay, look, they're already in the plus, so that's good. Now, I don't know. We haven't played much time forward, so at least they're going to grow a little bit without our intervention. We don't have to worry about them. How about Jacksonville? Ooh, minus 50%. Very poor transport. Well, maybe we can work on that in Jacksonville. Because like our roads don't necessarily have to be attached. Like we could start busing and doing some things around Fort Lauderdale. So let's get started with Fort Lauderdale, and let's take a look at the stats as they stand, and let's do our best to get that going, which would mean getting transport. Now we should be able to come up to. Is it this one? I'm still new to all of this. Land use. So there we go. So this is very similar to the old one where you have the different colors, and they're pretty much the same. Yellow for industrial, blue for commercial, and green for that. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'd like to see, I'm kind of thinking that this could be really a good central location for a terminal port, right? We might have to knock down a couple houses, but we would really cover a good chunk of the city with a train station that would be right in here. Now, part of the problem is, when they develop the town, if we don't put the train station in right away, then we're going to have a problem. But then I kind of want to keep an eye on our money, and I don't want to pay for a train station we're not using. And then we could probably, as time went on, have some spread out. Yeah, well, let's just get started. How's that sound? Let's go over here. So this is kind of a new menu, and tram settings. Oh, I noticed that. Never noticed that popping back up before, but okay. All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna do streets, no tram tracks, and we're gonna do buildings. Now, this game's a lot different in the fact that you can do either cargo or like this could be a truck station, but then you can expand these things. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So like we know right off the bat that we're going to potentially want like a cargo and or passenger area near where we have our train station, right? So if we were to come in, and I'm going to keep doing that to you guys. Now I did also, and I kind of recommend, I changed the X and the Z keys to be to rotate. They got M and N, which is fine in a way, but here, let's get out of this mode so we can see what we're doing here. So I want to put a building that eventually will be close enough. Yeah, I'd almost like to put a road. So I don't want to cost us a lot of money in building a train station. We might even consider just building it now. Like if I did a terminal station, yeah, you know what? I really don't want to have to do this, but we could do either one now, by the way. So I guess we would start out with passengers as our focus, right? There's a cargo station, passenger terminus station, and then spin this guy around. Maybe we come. Like it's a little bit strange, but I want to come. Yeah, we could expand this thing kind of either way. So I want to keep it off to one side. So I'm thinking we do something like this, right? 168,000. And then let's get to the roads. And we'll do a normal street. And this way we only have to demolish one building, which will kind of save some money. Right, and you'll notice when we do this, notice those little blue lines like are attached. Like if we click on here, well, you can't see it now, but this is now attached to that road. And then the next thing I'm thinking of is we go back to our buildings and we put a train. Oops, like I said, I promise to keep doing that instead of zooming. Yeah, let's just put it there. If you hit Shift and M or N, or again, I change it to X and Z. Right, that looks pretty reasonable. All right, and we're covering a good portion of the town with that. So we're hoping that the town will grow. All right, so that's what's covered with that building there. And I've been doing that all morning. Yeah, let's just put one here, which will cover if they expand out this way, right? We'll do it just so we don't have to destroy a building. And then I'm thinking we should take the opportunity to improve this street a little bit. I think it's just these. Yeah, $5,000, kind of worth it. It was a little street here and a bigger street there. That's okay. All right, and we'll put another one. Let's see, we're kind of already covering a lot of this, so I'm thinking if we look, I didn't do it that time. All right, if we come like right here, that should cover the rest of town. So this is our green area with the residential buildings. You can kind of see they look like little houses. And then we got our commercial buildings over here and our industrial looking buildings over here. So what I would like to do, just as much as anything to show you guys what's what, in a sense, is come up here and build, we'll come in here, right? And then we have this configure option. And then what we can do is before they end up building any houses and it costs us like a small fortune, it'll only cost us like $26,000 to add a cargo thing now. Now the same thing over here. If you look, we can come, click on this one and hit configure. And I'm just going to right away put a cargo thing. Oops. Why won't you let me? Oh, there you go. All right. Cargo thing. Oh, it's not. Oh, wait. There it is. I couldn't see it in the trees. I was going to say, something was wrong. All right. So now we've just upgraded this station to be able to do cargo. Now, if we take a look, let's close this and go to Fort Lauderdale here. How was I getting the... There is a way to get an overlay. Is it this one? No. This one. There you go. So this is where we're going to need to deliver food. So you don't deliver food to people, you deliver food to the commercial zone. And then you need to deliver, in this case, bricks to our industrial area. Good. All right, so that's setting up the basics. Now, the other thing we're going to need is a depot, which I'm thinking since our next step is over this way, let's just, I kind of like to put these out of town, at least in the old game. I don't know how much of, of my wisdom of the past is actually applying here today, but all right, we'll just get this guy 14 grand. Yeah, it's a little cheaper to put him right on the road, right? He's far enough out of town, he shouldn't interfere with too much. And then now we come down here to this manage lines, and I think this is another thing that got me confused. So you guys know, if you click here, it's going to go to the cargo section. If you click here, let me zoom in, they'll go to the bus section. So like I'll show you, look, see how he's going to the cargo dock over here? I'm going to X that out. And then I'm going to click on this and see how he's going to the passenger loop. So what I want to do is just get, for now, one passenger loop. That one didn't have a choice, so it just goes to the right one. And then another passenger loop here. So make sure you do that, because if you don't, things don't work and it gets ugly real quick. So I'm going to call this bus, even though we don't have actual buses right now. FTL, faster than light. Which way are we going? We're going clockwise. So in other words, eventually we may do a counterclockwise. So this one's going clockwise. If we do a counterclockwise, it'll go the other way. Right? Good. Now, yeah, the other thing that's a little bit confusing about this is, just so you guys are aware, if I click on this, it's called Fort Lauderdale Branch. Right? Fort Lauderdale Branch. I guess they're both called Fort Lauderdale Branch, but you can rename them if you wanted. So, in any event, now let's get at least one bus going. And then we're going to spend all our money. That's going to be the goal for this episode. So hopefully we don't go too far over time. And then the next episode will probably be, well, let's see what happens when we have almost no money. But like I said, I definitely would like to start getting going. So it's kind of interesting. I think it's a little different where you can select all the different, like we could select this, which is the line itself, but we just want this Fort Lauderdale Road Depot, and we want to say buy vehicles there, and we're going to do just one horse-drawn carriage for the moment, and then we'll come down here and select this. Now, if you don't select it, it'll just give all of the things that are in this list to it. So we're going to assign that to the bus counterclockwise. There we go. So we have our first vehicle. Right? On our first line going around Fort Lauderdale. Now, that's hardly impressive at that point, but let's just go see what we would do for here. See, I'm thinking we should probably build our own country road out of this farm so that we could put a road depot here, at least to get started, and then just truck things all the way back and forth. No, not down to there. Now, how are we going to get... Yeah, Greensboro is a little bit far for trucking, isn't it? It's all kind of a little bit far, but at least that's my thought to get us going forward. So let's come over to streets, and we're just going to do a small country lane because it's theoretically the cheapest. Now, yeah, we just want to kind of head straight. Yeah, let's take a look at it. It's cutting into the hill an awful lot. Yeah, let's go up the hill and then back down. I think that cost us a fair amount less money. Might as well come close to this guy. All right, and then we'll get a couple more road depots going. But this time we're going to go with the truck stations because we're not going to have any passengers here. And there we go with that whole action again. I guess there's part of my brain now. You know what? I think I want to do it this way. Just so we could possibly, well, we're not going to ever expand this, but this will get us nice and close. And if you get a little closer, it's even cheaper, huh? All right, then we can come right up here. I don't think we need to be right on top of this thing. I don't know if this farm would expand, and if we put it like right here, will that, I guess we'll live and learn, right? Might as well put it close. And I do wish, I don't know if there's a way to change the color of these things. I should go look, but it's really kind of hard for me to see that gray. Like, is this attached or not? Like, I don't think it is, but, well, no, it's definitely, I guess it's, the whole thing's grayed out. So we could do this. Right? I do wish you could see the road outline there. Because that'll save us a little back and forth. And I don't think there's any reason not to do that. All right, so there we go. So we should be able to get food or crops from here to here. And let's create a new couple lines. Oops. Yeah. All right, don't have to worry because it's just a cargo. Fort Lauderdale transfer. And then let's call this FTL. You know what? Yeah, this is fine. FTL wheat. Right? And then I want them to fill up at the transfer up there. And then let's rename this to FTL bread, right? And then we'll call this one, no. FTL wheat farm. Yeah, it doesn't close the windows. That's another thing I'm likely to do. Hopefully I'll get better at it before time goes on. So there we go. So now what we want to do is drag bread over to this station, I think. So let's do one more line. Then we'll maybe change the colors of them. So this is going to be FTL bread truck. Maybe change the names later on, right? And then, oops. Yeah, so add a station. So you want to come from here to the cargo side of this. See, and I think I want to call this, let's see, you know what, if I click here, let's call this Central. Right, so that because we're central. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, see how it didn't change it? Yeah, let's. Did I change the wrong? Okay, all right. I had to close the window and then it took it. Okay, good. All right, so because that way we'll know it's the center one that's near our train station. I don't know if it'll actually end up central as the town grows, but that should be its name. All right, so now we need to get some more vehicles. And just for the sake of not spending too much money, we'll get time going here eventually, but let's buy 2 horse-drawn carriages. Right, and then here's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not going to select either one of these. I'm just going to click on this. And notice they both go to the wheat. So if we come here, this button down here is manage the lines. And you'll see we have 2 vehicles on that. So now the other thing we probably want to do, it does seem to be that you need a little bit of demand before they'll even start shipping things. So we'll just, in this case, just buy 1. All right, so FTL bread truck. So that at least they start saying, hey, I've got a truck so I can start shipping things. Because I don't know if this is 100% true, but it seemed like they weren't sending things to here immediately. Then the other thing I think I'd like to do, it's kind of, oops. If we come here, I'm getting used to like what you can click on. It's definitely sort of different. So if we come over here to FTL wheat, we can manage the line. Yep, we said full. And then I think I want to do the same thing with the bread. Manage the line. All right, so when they're in FTL bread, I want you to be full before you go to your next stop. All right, so what else can we do before we start time up? Is there any other low-hanging fruit in the area? And again, I just sort of want to get profitable because I ran myself into such debt. I mean, we could start another city, like, you know, they weren't very happy in Jacksonville, were they? And we could even, it's a long ride over to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I'd almost be more tempted to, I don't want to build a ton of roads either. Is there any other city that would be, I mean, we could do Hayward. How are they looking? Well, Hayward looks like it's going to grow without our interference. All right, well, let's see. Is there any other industries? And if you guys have a suggestion, feel free to pause it and take a look at what we need. Yeah, I'd like to get that oil going. Yeah, maybe that's Anchorage down there. Oh, this little question mark, or like when it sits right next to a name, I don't know if you guys can see that. It kind of gets me once in a while. Yeah, I think maybe what we could do is get Greensboro going, right, by truck. Yeah, let's do that. Now, I don't know if this is the best way to do this, but you know what? That's yeah, that's a truck station. All right, so there's oil that's been refined. And this will be oil that crude oil to oil. All right, and then this will be. We probably should build another little road, huh? Yeah, let's build the road first. We're just going to build a. All right, like right off of here. Very, very shortly, we'll play a little bit of time and then end the episode. And that way I can get some of your feedback. So what I'm going to do is put this episode up this afternoon. This is the first day. That's probably what I'll call the episode, just because it's the first day that most normal people like myself can play it. And it's the first official release date. I know you may have been watching videos for the last week. But let's see. All right, so what are we doing? We are not doing vehicle manager. We want another building. And we want a depot. Yeah, I think the other thing about the M&N key is that they have like Shift M&N does like fine tuning, and it's really kind of tough. Yeah, look, we'll have kind of like a bit of a circle there, won't we? I mean, they'll be going back and forth, but yeah, I think this will be potentially profitable. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's do. That's line statistics. Let's do new line, and we want you to go from here to there, and let's do. Now, I did want to check something else out. Greensboro. Crude. Right, and then this is Greensboro Annex. And this is what, refinery, right? Yeah. So let's rename. Oops. Now, sometimes in the episodes I won't do that. And this is, yeah, oil well. All right. So we can close both of those. And then we're going to need to get Greensboro. So this is fuel. I keep wanting to click right on the letter, but see how can we? Yeah, good. Yeah, let's go back to here. right? And then we're going to want another. Now, how is Greensboro for... Well, let's go back over to this. Okay, so most of that's going to have to go up here. I'm wondering if we can... Yeah, I think Greensboro is an okay town. I'm thinking we just keep it simple, even though often planning ahead in this game, in the past anyway, has been the better route. Let's, yeah, I think in this case we'll, see now if you hit Shift and Z, you can spin it around and make it look nicer. Yeah, see the problem is, all right, can we get a passenger thing in there without... Yes. Let's put it in now before they build a house, right? There we go. So now we'll have passenger possibilities. And I'm thinking maybe we just put another one like over here, even though we can get like a little passenger line going. And yeah, Fort Lauderdale is kind of... But we do have these. We could put a little road into here and get... It's kind of a long run for people. And again, I don't know exactly what I'm doing as far as what is the best way to do all these things. All right, so let's come to here. And we're going to put in another one as much as anything because I don't want them building too much stuff around us. All right, I think I will just build it right next to this house. Oop, no, passenger. All right. All right, so now what do we need? We need to take this guy and get a line over to... All right, so we're going to do a truck line and go to here, right? So yeah, you're going to take fuel from there to there. All right, so now let's... Can I hit Control C by any chance? Oops. Yeah, it looks like it did work. So Greensboro fuel. All right, that's going to be from there to there. And then, well, let's just say, I guess we could try another line. We're going to go from this passenger to this passenger thing. Yeah, let's see if my copy and paste thing works. Yes, good. I'm just going to say bus for now. We could change the name as we get more complicated. But I like to start getting some kind of naming conventions going. And then we're going to want a depot, which I guess... I think it's more likely to be out of the way over here. Let's get out of that mode. It gets into these modes. I guess, I don't know if there's a setting to change that, but if you look, we've already spent a good chunk of our change. And we haven't even really done anything towards trains. I'm just hoping to get some like positive money, and we'll come back in the next episode and see if that's something we can do, right? All right, so let's buy vehicles. We're going to buy one carriage. And then we have what? 1, 2, 3 lines. But we didn't set up this line yet. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 for now. Yeah, we need to get another line from here to here. So let's come back over to here. New line. Control V. Greensboro. oil to fuel. And then add, so you're going to go from this station to this station, and you're going to wait for stuff here. Let's see, is this one waiting? Lower Greensboro Fuel Refinery. I guess I did that second. I like to leave them first and second if they're picking up, but I don't know. Is there any way to move this? Can we? No. If there is, what does that button do? I don't know what that is. All right, we'll worry about it later. All right, so bottom line is when you're at the fuel refinery, wait, and then you should be waiting on the crude. Wait when you're at the oil well. So hopefully they don't keep running all over. All right, and then we want to start getting these guys going. And let's play a tiny bit of time. And like I said, I'll get your guys' suggestions after this, but let me know if you think this is a good start. So we don't have... Yeah, let's go back over to the vehicle manager. Right, and... Yeah, so we have all... Okay, you know what? Let's hit play. I think some of these should leave. Oh, there we go. Okay, there was my confusion. So these guys don't have a route. So this guy should go to bus Greensboro. And then we'll put one of these guys each on the crude. Oil to fuel. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. And then fuel. All right, we'll get out of that mode and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, let's close this. Now we still have a good amount of money, so like I said, I'm going to pause and just go about the rest of my day and give you guys a chance. So this evening I will record another episode of this, and it'll be tomorrow morning's episode. So if you do watch this relatively close to when it's released, before, say, 5 or 7, probably, 5 or 7 would be a good guess, Eastern time in the United States. Oop, and then we have a message. Let's clear that up. Lower Greensboro bus. Yeah, so let's see what's your problem. See, look, I clicked on the wrong thing. So let's manage the line, right? And this is exactly what I was talking about. So this is Lower Greensboro, but we want to go to the passenger side. So then we'll get rid of this. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that's you got to really kind of watch out for that. Now, fortunately, we got a warning and it told us about it. There we go. And then if I do anything in between these episodes, I may let some time play, but it depends. I might just come back in and take a look for other money-making opportunities. This is our expenses. So you can see railroad. We're going to have some railroad expenses because we built that station because I didn't want them to... Yeah, I didn't want... Where the heck is Fort Lauderdale? I didn't want Fort Lauderdale to grow up too much around where we were going to build our railroad station, right? Kind of stake out the turf a little bit, plus build that road. But other than that, we'll see how we do with the roads. And then I like to sit here and take a look at this. Now, at first I was kind of frustrated because every time you did this, like I always like to have the stations, especially in the beginning, and the... and the line statistics up, and I was like, you can't do it. And then I noticed, well, you can just move them. Now, it takes up a lot of the screen, but I also have this kind of as big as I can stand it for the sake of YouTube. You could make this a lot smaller if you weren't making a YouTube video, but then, I'll sit here and just kind of keep an eye on what's going on. A lot of times I could filter for the cargo so we can see where we're doing well. So we've got quite a bit at the oil well down there. So probably one of the first things we'll do is go ahead and get more vehicles hauling that, but we'll just let's let things. Yeah, where are we? We also have to keep in mind where we're at. Try to keep the map oriented this way so we're familiar. There we go. So there's our little symbols. We could turn those symbols off if they annoy you. So you can turn these off. HUD filter icon. So there we go. Let's take a look at our line. Are we hauling anything yet? We're hauling a little bit of crude oil, so that's good. This guy hasn't even made it to his destination yet. All right, there you go. Like I said, let me know what you think. If you like, now is the time. If you want to see me do the campaign, or if you want to see me do something else, maybe you think it should make it more hilly, or whatever your opinion is, or maybe there's some specialty map on the workshop you guys already know about. But before we get too far into this one, would be a great time to know that. So, hey, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.